You're listening to Executive Leaders Radio, broadcast from the Greater Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce. This is your host, Herb Cohen, with my co-host, Robert Petcove, Arthur J. Gallagher. We have a great lineup of guests for you on our show today. Robert, can you please give us the rundown?
Sure, I'd be happy to, Herb. First, we have Gary Steinbeck, CFO of Active International. Next, we have Dr. Kristen Wellever, Chancellor, Penn State University Brandywine. And our third guest today is James Harner, President, James Harner Group, Keller Williams International.
Excellent. Let's get to know Gary Steinbeck, CFO of Active International. Gary, what is Active International? What do you folks do?
Yeah, Active International is a corporate trade company, is what we call ourselves, but we're also in the line of corporate barter. And what we do is we allow our clients to acquire goods and services through us, mostly advertising placement, using a combination of their cash and their underperforming assets.
So when your clients need advertising, they'll come to you and they'll say, listen, we need some advertising and we happen to have a building that we don't need anymore, or some inventory that we don't need anymore, or something else we don't need anymore, and we'll give you some cash as well, and then therefore we can go buy some advertising with it.
Typically, yes. I mean, we generally acquire the underperforming assets, as you said, using our currency, a form of consideration, called a trade credit. Clients use those trade credits coupled with the cash to buy their underperforming assets, or to buy goods and services what they normally would have paid for in an all-cash basis.
And what's your role in this company?
I'm the Chief Financial Officer.
The Chief Financial Officer. So your job is to make sure that all the numbers add up?
Yeah, that and more. I'm responsible for the worldwide financial affairs of the company. We're a global company of operations in 14 countries.
Wait. How large or how small is this company?
Last year we just went over $1 billion for our first time in our 30-year career.
You're doing over $1 billion.
Yes.
Wow. And you're the CFO.
Yes.
So you're doing more than just making sure all the numbers add up correctly?
Yeah. What we do is, in our business model, we provide goods and services to our clients at the normal price they would have paid for on an all-cash basis. So what we do is we have to arrange for our supply side, which is our acquisition of advertising or travel or hotels or freight or other goods and services that we have, at a cost that allows us to pass on the savings to them and allows us to make a profit.
Wow, this is a pretty, so you got several moving pieces here. This is a pretty complex business. I guess accounting-wise, it really can present some challenges.
It does, because what we say is we're a foot on Madison Avenue and a foot on Wall Street. And the foot on Wall Street is that we have many inventory, what we call inventory, which is future rights to our supply side positions that we have to maintain and account for all the time. And we probably worldwide have over 2,000 or so at any one point. And coupled with our clients on the buy side, we're the intermediary to bring it all together.
How long have you been the CFO of this company?
Since July 1st of this year.
Wow, it's recent. And how young were you when this personality of yours, as well as these keeping track of numbers kind of skills, began to come together as a kid? How young were you when it all came together?
When I was in third grade, I bought a paper route, and I kept the paper route for 5 years until I was 8th grade and went to high school.
You kept the paper route for 5 years. And what did you do different with this paper route than most of the other kids that had a paper route?
Well, I learned early on that if you put the paper in the door and protect it from the rain and the elements, that you probably would get a little bit more tips.
What did that teach you about business?
Customer service is important.
Yeah, wait a minute. But on the other hand, why would you do all that extra work? I mean, it takes a lot more time putting it in the door. I mean, why would you do that?
I just realized is what the customers or what they appreciated, and it wasn't all that much effort, and it paid off.
How's that affected your business career? That simple understanding.
Well, I think it was very rewarding for my professional career. It was from a customer point of view, understanding customer needs, even at an early age, how important they are.
Do you deal with any customers nowadays as a CFO of this billion-dollar company?
All the time.
Why do you think they wanted you as a CFO? Maybe it's because you could deal with the clients?
I think it's having an understanding of clients' needs. We also deal with vendors a lot, understanding what the vendors are looking for in their product side, and looking for what the business needs.
So it sounds to me like as a paper boy, you had an empathy to you as well as the number side. Were you nice and organized, keeping track of who owed you money and who paid and stuff like that?
I was meticulous.
So you're doing both sides. You have this very organized side, yet you've got these people skills that are wonderful. I can understand in a business as complex as yours, where you're dealing with vendors and customers and suppliers, you're dealing with a lot of different people. So you've got to be able to deal with people as well as keep track of all this stuff. Am I correct about that?
That's correct.
So when you applied for this, how did you get this job as CFO? How did that come about?
I've been with Active for 21 years. I started off as the director of finance for the organization. At that point, when I started 21 years ago, the company was, its monetary side of the business was slightly under $60 million.
So these boys knew you for many, many years, and nonetheless, in spite of that, they asked you to be the CFO. How come? Why'd they want you to be the CFO?
Probably because as the company evolved internationally, and there's very complex on dealing with income taxes, value-added taxes, non-monetary exchanges, GAAP in the many countries that we operate with. It's a skill set that is acquired, that you learn as you go. You're not going to go to a textbook and learn this. And so I think understanding how the financial affairs of the company work.
Sounds to me like that most paper boys have a paper route for a very limited period of time. You had it for an extended period of time. You've got the stick-to-itiveness. I guess the board members wanted you because you'd been with them 21 years. You have this personality, and you're also well organized. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
And what did Mom and Dad do for a living when you were a kid?
My dad was worked at Travelers Insurance Company in Hartford, Connecticut, and he made his career there from college grad to retirement.
Oh, well, now we know where the stick-to-itiveness and the longevity came from. And how about Mom? What did Mom do?
My mother worked in hospital administration and medical records for, I would say, her career too.
Well, what did you get from her that you use every day in business?
My mother is well organized, a hard worker. She's well skilled. She's technologically bent, and she's just a wonderful person.
Technology. Your mom was playing with technology years ago, it sounds like.
Yeah, as medical records evolved into computer-based, digitized, she was involved in that. Started working for a company and companies that would create software to manage that, and so she became.
So around the house, what kind of early technologies did your mom adopt for the household?
I would say even today, my mother is quick on the iPhone. Her grandchildren go to her to learn new apps and ways to develop the phone.
Wait a second. Your mother's grandchildren go to grandmom to learn about new apps?
Yes.
That's interesting. That's sort of cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have an older sister and a younger brother.
How are you guys different from each other?
We're all pretty. I'd say we're all pretty similar. We're largely cut from the same cloth.
So you really believe in a team. Your nature is to bond. You guys, you're not seeing a lot of separateness, are you?
No.
Is that one of the other reasons the board wanted you to be the CFO? Because you're good at working and forming a team?
I believe so. I really believe so. In my company at Active, and particularly in my group, many of the people in the group and my direct reports have been there for over 10 years.
What do you have to do with that?
It's really important for me that when someone comes to the office, that we're more than just come to the office to work. We work well together. We understand our common goals. We work on projects together.
But isn't that a lot of wasted time? I mean, sitting and talking about stuff aside from the tasks that one has to do that day?
No, you have to plan. And for Take It to Active, where the company has has grown from under $100 million when I started to over $1 billion right now. It requires a lot of planning, a lot of financial infrastructure. We need to look down the road to know where we're going.
But this stuff about the feeling, people sticking around for a long period of time, doesn't it take a lot of time to foster that kind of environment that's anything but get the results today of these tasks?
No, I think if it comes as your primary nature, it just happens, and you develop a culture that supports it as part of the culture.
Huh, interesting. Robert?
Please talk about the culture of Active International. I mean, you're about a 21-year career, seeing the company grow tenfold. What's the culture like at Active?
The culture at Active is very entrepreneurial. Our two founders are still the CEO and president 30 years later. They're very engaged in the organization, terrifically smart individuals, and even at $1 billion plus, very entrepreneurially spirited organization.
And what do you look for whether it's an intern or a young person you're looking to bring on to the business in some capacity? What type of person are you looking for out there?
What we're looking for is the ability to fit in. Personality is very important to us. Want to make sure that they're not going to be smart, but ruffle the feathers of the other group. So we're always looking for highly skilled, very personable people.
So as a CFO, you're not just worried about the numbers, but you're also worried about that person gelling in with the organization to make sure it's not a problem.
Absolutely.
And how have you seen Active International grow? You're talking about internationally, so we're not talking about just local M&As, you're talking about international M&As. What have you learned from that expansion as well within your business?
What you have to do is not only do you need to know the people, you need to know the culture of the countries that you're going into. Every country has its own ways of operating, and you have to know that in order to succeed.
And has the growth been organic, or has it been through acquisition?
It's been largely organic.
Mm-hmm. So when you're going into a new country, what are the first couple of steps identifying that there's a market there, and then opening up an office with some local folks that can help move into that market?
Yeah, first we have to make sure that the demographics are right for us. Mm-hmm. And our demographics are, because we're largely advertising, that the advertising market works well for us. Mm-hmm. We have to understand that there's a client base for us, and our client base is largely consumer product companies with underperforming goods, and we have to make sure that we're properly staffed.
Mm-hmm. So you do a lot of travel.
I do a lot of travel,
and you're really sensitive to the local folks.
Yes.
Give us an idea of some of the countries you've been to.
We're in 14. Well, we're in 14 countries right now that we're operating in. Mm-hmm. Now, all the countries that we put a toe in mm-hmm. are still there. We tried India. India was very difficult. Mm-hmm. We pulled out of that. Mm-hmm. And now we're actively pursuing an entree into China.
Mm-hmm. So, some of the countries. Give us a sense of some of the other countries you're involved with.
London. We're the United Kingdom. Mm-hmm. France, Germany. Mm-hmm. Canada.
You ever travel there?
I travel a lot.
You ever hang out at the homes of your local partners? Do you ever get invited to their homes for dinner or stuff like that?
No. Mm-hmm. No, we're generally we generally tend to go out to restaurants and stuff.
Yeah. So you're going out to restaurants and you're hanging out with them and talking to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Robert?
So when you enter a new country, are you opening up an office there, or was you found a need for a new client that's there that now has a need for you to be there?
Typically, we're opening up a new office, and we're hoping for growth locally, as well as using that as a base to support our multinational clients.
That's great. Mm-hmm. And what are some of your hobbies?
Well, travel is one of my. Travel is
in your spare time.
Yeah, travel. In my family, we really enjoy travel. Mm-hmm. I'm a scout leader, so I spend a lot of time with that.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any children of your own?
I have a daughter who graduated college 2 years ago, mm-hmm. and I have a son who is a sophomore in college right now.
And what do you think you've learned as being a parent that you could bring to the office on a daily basis?
Well, to start with my daughter, she's very hardworking. She graduated a couple years ago, and she's living in Brooklyn right now, making a living. And I take a lot of pride in the stick-to-itness that she has.
She's being an entrepreneur.
She is, right, and that gives me a lot of joy. My son is an Eagle Scout.
Nice.
He worked his way up through the ranks, and I'm very proud of that too.
So you've made quite an impression. You have one entrepreneur, one Eagle Scout in your hands. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You've done good.
And my wife has done good too.
Yeah, that's great. Of course.
Well, you're a scout leader.
Yes.
What's involved in being a scout leader? What's a good scout leader all about?
A good scout leader is letting the youth run the organization. It's all about. It's more than letting boys go into the woods and build fires and play with sharp objects. Mm-hmm. It's really about leadership. And from an early age in Scouts, they learn to be part of a patrol, part of a team, become a patrol leader to a senior patrol leader, organizing the troop. And the real thing about scouting is developing leaders.
Mm-hmm. And what makes a good scout leader?
His ability to interact and lead. It's kind of like revolving stuff, but they really need to instruct the other boys, help them advance, help manage the troop.
So, what do you enjoy about being a scout leader?
Watching the boys advance and watching them grow.
So isn't a scout leader just telling everybody what to do?
No, we give advice. We don't tell them what to do. It's what we call it a boy-led troop. We let the youth run themselves.
What's the website address for Active International?
We're www.activeinternational.com.
We've been speaking with Gary Steinbeck, CFO of Active International, here on Executive Leaders Radio. Don't forget to visit our website, executiveleadersradio.com, to learn more about our executive leaders. We'll be back in a moment right after this Business Spotlight.